Hi, everybody. Hi, my sugar bears. It is me, Leo Brown. And first, let me say good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to those of you across the pond and across the land. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday thus far. So, I wanted to do something a little different today. I want to talk about something that I think a lot of us do, but maybe we don't realize we do it. And that is ancestor worship or ancestor veneration. So before I begin going into that, first of all, I want to say to you, thank you for liking, for commenting, and for sharing my videos. If you like what you hear and you see, make sure you comment below. And most of all, make sure to subscribe to the channel, become a sugar bear. Follow me. And also, you can follow me on different various social media platforms. And if you want a reading outside of this modality in this medium, you can log on to psychicleo.com. Okay, so ancestor worship 101. What is it? So ancestor worship is just what it sounds like. It is you honoring. It's not necessarily you worshiping your ancestors, but it's more so you honoring them, you thanking them. Because look at it this way. Look at yourself like a tree. In order for a tree to grow, excuse me, it needs firm roots. So um so when you do ancestor veneration, you are basically paying homage to the roots that you come from, to your roots. So that's basically what ancestor veneration is. And it can be a series of prayers, it can be songs, you can play music, you can just talk to them, you can have pictures. There are many different things, many different varieties, and many different ways of ancestor worship. In fact, the Day of the Dead and Halloween are holy days that allow us to honor those that have come before us. So, with ancestor worship, what do you need? Well, you don't really need much. For me, I just have these as examples, and these are actually tools that I use. You only need a white candle and a glass of water. You don't need much. And if you have them, I don't have them to show, but if you have them, you can also find pictures of deceased loved ones, of relatives, even of animals if you choose to, things of that nature. And you basically make a space for them in your home. Some people do it in their bathrooms. Some people do it in their bedroom. I really wouldn't recommend the bedroom, but I mean, you want your ancestors to see you getting busy, you know. But say you have very little space. Say where you live is very compact. So the only place you can really store it is in your bedroom. Well, if you do that, have a space for them, but also put a covering over it. So if you know you're going to be intimate or you're going to do something that you may not want your ancestors to see, you know what I mean? Like for me, my ancestor altar is actually in my living room. And oftentimes, what I do is if, say, I have company and something more intimate happens, what I'll do is before the act takes place, I will actually turn the pictures around, or I'll push them down, or I'll just cover the altar in total, because the bedroom is for, people that's gonna be my husband. But but that's normally what I do. But you do what you can. And you can also give them flowers and give them foods, give them things that they loved. Like for instance, my grandmother was really a big fan of sweets. She loved candies and peppermint, things like that. She always had peppermint and those little strawberry candies. She always had those in her purse. So I do things like that. Or my grandpa loved vanilla, like literal vanilla flavor. So he would actually drink vanilla and he would get drunk off of it. So I'd give him that. Or beer. My grandmother loved Bud Light. You know what I mean? Give her a Bud Light, pour a little Bud Light for them. Cigarettes. So you can do, and also, in terms of offerings, this goes into the offering section. You can give them cigarettes, you can give them cigars, whatever things they loved to um, to celebrate with. That's what you would do. Another thing that I actually do that I love to do is I love to play music. So what I normally do with them, like for instance, my grandfather loves the blues. So I'll play like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Lead Belly, things like that. My grandmother was a gospel fan. So I'll play like Mahalia Jackson, Shirley Caesar, like old school Shirley Caesar. Um, my father, he was a jazz buff. So I'll play John Coltrane. I'll play Miles Davis. I'll play Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, things like that. And I just honestly talk to them and tell them this is what's going on in my life, check on them, see how they were doing, things like that. Now, for those of you who are wanting to know, what's the significance of a candle? So the candle basically acts as a light to let them know, like, yes, we want you to come. We want you to be around. You know what I mean? We want your assistance, because your ancestors are like your dream team on a spiritual level. So, you light the candle to let them know, like, yes, this is a safe place, it's a safe space. And usually your candle is white. And white is because, number one, it's all about light. It lets light in. That's what you want. You want to make sure that you commune with ancestors that have your best interest. Now, how that kind of leads me into another thing. What if you had a strained relationship with an ancestor, but you still want to talk to them? Well, you don't want to go, I would say this. You necessarily don't want to go around them, but you don't, how do I put it? You don't want to avoid them. But if you know that you and an ancestor did not mesh, try to send them love and light, but at the same time, be real with them and have boundaries too. Because case in point, let's see, I'm trying to think of an ancestor that I didn't. Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that for me, that's what I do. And also, too, just like in life, if you had an ancestor that was a dick in life, chances are you'll have one that's a dick on the other side. Okay, too. Just like we have to choose to evolve and grow, so do they. It's the same thing. So with that, I would say just try to send them as much love and light as you can, but at the same time, have your boundaries together. Have your spiritual boundaries as well as your personal ones together. Now, what's the significance of the water? So the water is basically, it's like, think of it like this, like us. We have to eat, right? We have to eat, maybe not every day, but we have to eat. We have to eat, we have to drink. Think of water as life. Water is essential. So when you give your ancestors water, you're saying to them, I'm not only feeding you, but I'm giving you life. I'm helping you quench your thirst. I'm helping you cool your brow. I'm helping you cool your body. I'm helping you cleanse yourself. Water is cleansing. Water is purification. So when you give your ancestors water, that's what you're doing. When you even give them different kinds of liquors and spirits, you're basically saying, I celebrate with you. I give you libation because I want to celebrate. Not only do I want to honor you, but I want to celebrate with you. One thing you can also do that is really helpful is you can give them just a little bit of your meal. You don't have to give them the entire plate, but you can give them like a little slice of your meal. You can give them a little piece of cake, things like that. Now, the thing of it is, when it comes to food offerings, you don't want to leave your offerings out too long. Okay, you don't want to be rotted. And then with your water, change your water at least every week, if not try to change it every day. But I would say at least do it every week at the most. And I have to admit, I'm bad at that. Listen, I'm human. Okay. But more importantly, more than anything, just talk to them, commune with them in a way that fits you, in a way that honors not only you, but honors them. Excuse me. I'm trying to think of something else to say. What if you have an ancestor that you didn't really know? Like, for instance, for me, I didn't really know my dad. I didn't know him very much. But by me communing with him through the ancestor realm, I've gotten to know him. I've gotten to know that he loved jazz. I've gotten to know that he loved hats. I've gotten to know that he loved things that like he was very much a smooth, snappy dresser. You know what I mean? Clothing. So looking good was important. And also on top of your altar, if you can get a white cloth or get something white, because white is also purity as well. And you can, and also when you talk to them, you can begin by saying a prayer, just honoring them. It could be something that comes from your religious background, your religious tradition. And then you can call them by name if you choose to. And when you do call them, welcome them, right? But then once you're done for the day, once you've done everything you need to do, go back to your altar and tell them, okay, now I'll tell you what I actually say. So what I say is, um, thank you once again. I will call upon you by name. But now I want you to go back from whence you came. Because you have to look at it this way. It's like, look at it like you being put in a situation or a place that you don't know, right? It's the same way with spirits, with your ancestors. You don't want it to be where it's like, okay, they don't, you know what I mean? Like they don't, oh, I cut myself. They don't, sorry, y'all. They don't know, it's like they don't know where they're at. So they're, panicking or whatever. So you don't want to do that. And that can cause havoc. You don't want that. Now, one of the big misconceptions about ancestor worship is that, or ancestor veneration, is that it is not Christian. When actuality, a lot of this has started. This goes back to African traditions. It goes back to uh, Irish traditions as well. And it also goes back to Victorian era traditions as well. Many Victorians did this a lot, especially during the spiritualist movement. So, one of the big misconceptions is that it's not a, it's not a Christian thing. Like if you're Christian, a lot of people think, oh, well, Christians don't do that. Actually, they do. And it's a very ancient, I hate to use the word tribal, but it's a very natural thing because if you actually do your research, well, not research, but if you look into it and you read up on it, this exists for thousands of years against many different cultures. So those are just some of the things I wanted to tell you about ancestor veneration. So why not give it a try? Build your own ancestor altar. All you need is a white candle, some water, of course, pictures of your ancestors. Now, another thing I want to say before I leave is when you have pictures of your ancestors, don't have pictures with you in it, okay? Because you're basically saying to the spirit world, like, hey, take me with you. And you don't want that. So you want to make sure that you have pictures where it's like it's just your grandmother when she was a little girl, your aunt, just you don't want it to where it's like you, your aunt, and some friends. No, you want it where it's just your aunt. So you want to make sure it's just them. One thing that you could do if you don't have actual pictures of them, like for me, I don't have a lot of pictures of my ancestors, but I do have their obituaries. So what I do is I take um, like the pamphlets that you get at funerals, I take those and I use those as pictures because normally they have pictures on them and they have like their date of birth and their date of death and then a little bit about their life. And every now and again, when I need be, I go to them and I talk to them. So it's as simple as that. And one thing you can also do, one thing that I would recommend you do is incense. You can do smells. You can do um, rose is a wonderful incense. Jasmine is a great incense to bring in the spirit and the ancestors as well. So those are just some things you can do. I could do a whole series about this, but those are just some things you can do. And I wanted to bring this up seeing as how we're about to go into Halloween and Day of the Dead as well. So I wanted to bring this up because it's important, and no matter who you are, we all come from somewhere. And what's wrong with celebrating who we are and where we've come from? So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you have enjoyed what I've had to say. Actually, I want to know, how do you celebrate your ancestors? What do you do? Like, what are some of your traditions? Leave them down below in the comments and let me know. So until then, my sugar bears, it is me, Leo Brown. And until next time, I say to you, be teachable, be learnable, love yourself, but most of all, be you. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.